Welcome to the Perrysburg Podcast, episode 89. I am your host, Perrysburg resident Kim Newlove. The Perrysburg Podcast is a resource for Perrysburg residents. We talk about what's in Perrysburg and why people like to live here. Our website is perrysburgpodcast.com. We are talking about walleye today, and this episode has a bingo theme. But first, some background. Of course, some people like to live in Perrysburg because they like to fish. But we also have thousands of people who come to Perrysburg because they like to fish the Spring Walleye Run. If you're not from around here, the term Walleye Run may not make sense. But what it is the Walleye Run refers to the annual migration of walleye, which is a fish. It is a tasty game fish. Not only do people enjoy fishing for them because they're a challenge, but they also like to eat what they catch. Walleye like to migrate. They go up the Maumee River. I believe they start in Lake Erie, right? And then they go up the Maumee River up to 25 miles, is what I've read. And what are they doing? They are spawning or laying eggs every spring. Walleye, as a fish, are well known throughout northwestern Ohio, especially in Toledo, Ohio. It's one of our towns just north of us here. Perrysburg is just south of Toledo. So, in the city of Toledo, they have a minor league hockey team. And what's the name of that minor league hockey team? They are called the Walleye. And one of their mascots is a yellow colored walleye named Spike. I'm almost done with the background, I promise. Every March and April, walleye fishing is very popular here in Perrysburg. I do not fish at this time. I am just a spectator. Listen, fishing is a sport. Sports have spectators, so I am legit a spectator. I love to see the fishermen, women, and children out there doing their thing and having a good time every single spring. Now, just a side note, some people call fishermen, women, and children anglers. I'm kind of old school. When I was raised, people who fished in the river were called fishermen, whether they were a man, a woman, or a child. So you're going to hear me say the term fisherman a lot today. Now, whether you're a fisherman or a spectator, today's episode is meant to describe a walleye bingo card and raise awareness about things that you will see every spring in and around Perrysburg during the Spring Walleye Run. Let's talk about this bingo card. I've got it right next to me here in my recording space. The bingo card, of course, has 25 spots, and the middle spot is a free space. If you subscribe to the Perrysburg Podcast newsletter, I will put my homemade bingo card in the newsletter on April 4th, 2025. By the way, I got the idea to make a bingo card about the walleye run from my sister. No, she doesn't live around here, and no, she doesn't fish, but she does like to make bingo cards from time to time. For example, last year she was living in Germany as a Fulbright scholar, and when my son Derek and I went out to visit her, we visited 4 countries together. They were the Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. So that we could make it to a lot of attractions, we chose to make bingo cards, sightseeing bingo cards, so that we would make it to the places we wanted to see. My sister helped us make our first one when we were in the Netherlands. Things that made it onto that bingo card were a canal boat trip, visiting a tulip farm, and going to the Van Gogh Museum. We had a great trip. So I took that great idea to use a bingo card on vacation, and I used it for my walleye bingo card today. What I'm going to do is go through the 25 items that made it onto my bingo card, including the classic free space in the center. You are welcome to use mine or make your own. These are all things that you should see in March or April in or around Perrysburg, Ohio. That's why the title of this episode is I Spy a Walleye. I got my bingo board here. The first thing on it is spot a stringer with 2 or more walleye on it. All right, do you know what a stringer is? Let me tell you. In my own words, a stringer is a tool that fishermen use to keep their fish organized. It looks like Fish hanging on a rope. It's kind of like a clothesline for fish. These are my own words. I'm not sure if Maumee Tackle would approve of that, but that's what I call it. And sometimes you'll see someone with a metal stringer that looks like a giant safety pin. Now, if you see someone with about 6 walleye on their stringer, they have had a very good day. I have seen lots of full stringers this year in pictures on Facebook pages and websites. So, since I have seen people with 2 or more walleye on a stringer, I will mark this one off my card. I have to put my card down so I can put my markers on it. Number 2 on my bingo board is an Ohio Department of Natural Resources vehicle or wildlife officer. A wildlife officer is a person who works for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, which is abbreviated ODNR. And those wildlife officers check for fishing licenses. They make sure that people are following the rules and staying safe, and so on. So if you spot either a vehicle or the officer, mark that spot on the board. The vehicle could be a car or a boat. I have not seen either one so far this year, so I can't mark that spot. Moving along, number 3 is stand on the Perrysburg Maumee Bridge, look down, and watch someone catch a walleye. I have done this year. I was actually with my nephew Paul. We were looking down together, and somebody was having a good day, so I get to mark that square off my card. Number 4 is a fishing line recycling tube. So, this is not exactly something that has to do with catching a walleye. It's after somebody catches a walleye and they've maybe had a snag and they need to get rid of their fishing line, they can put it in a recycling tube. These tubes are usually white, and you will see them at many of our city parks here in Perrysburg. I have seen them at Buttonwood, the Davis Overlook, the Riverwalk, and Orleans Park. I can't remember if there's one at the Maple Street boat launch, but I would guess there probably is. Since I have definitely seen these fishing line recycling tubes this year, I'm marking that spot on my board. There we go. All right, next up is number 5. Visit Buttonwood Park and watch someone catch a walleye. I have not done this in person this year. I could cheat and mark it off because I have seen this on Facebook pages, but I have not seen it personally. I have not been to Buttonwood yet this year either. So I'm going to be honest and not mark that spot on my bingo card. By the way, if you don't know about Buttonwood Park, episode 31 of the Perrysburg podcast was about Buttonwood Park. By the way, if you do want to see fishermen in action at Buttonwood Park, I recommend that you go there early in the day. Parking space is limited, and the fishermen, they really need those spaces. So go watch for like 15 to 20 minutes and then move out. We are on the second row now. Number 6 out of 25 on my bingo card says visit Maumee Tackle, buy gear if you need it, and get your picture with the business sign in the parking lot if you want to. Maumee Tackle is a great shop for walleye fishing supplies. It is located in historic Uptown Maumee. We do not have a tackle shop like this in Perrysburg, but if you want to head to Maumee, they are just over the Perrysburg Maumee Bridge right there in historic Uptown Maumee. Fishermen love to go there and get their picture taken with their stringers of fish in front of that Maumee Tackle sign before they head home. Maumee Tackle also has a website and a Facebook page. Those are actually 2 more squares coming up in just a little bit. I have been to Maumee Tackle once this year, so I will mark that spot on my bingo card. Number 7 on my bingo sheet here is visit the Perrysburg Riverwalk and watch someone catch a walleye. If you have not been to the Perrysburg Riverwalk, there's 2 ways to get to it. Either pull into Orleans Park or go down Rapids Road. It's just before you get to the Perrysburg Maumee Bridge. As you're exiting Perrysburg and heading towards Maumee, just hang a left there. Go to the parking lot that's right next to the river, right by Fort Meigs Battlefield, down the hill there towards the river. Now, if you walk from the parking lot to Orleans Park, you will see Lots of fishermen either standing on the banks of the river on dry land or standing in the river itself. Walleye fishermen love to wear those hip waders. I think they're made of neoprene. They're waterproof, and they love to venture out into the water when the water's at a safe level and fish. I have been to the Riverwalk, but I have not seen anyone catch a fish while I was there. I have seen somebody catch a fish in that area from the top there at the bridge, but not when I was parked there at the Riverwalk. I'm an honest person, so I'm not going to count what I have seen from the bridge as double for the Riverwalk, so I'm not going to mark that spot on my bingo card. All right, next we've got number 8. The eighth thing on my bingo card is about Maumee tackle again. All I have to do to mark this space is like Maumee Tackle's Facebook page. I have already done that. It's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel because I've already done it. Even if you don't fish, you might like Maumee Tackle's Facebook page. They post river reports, which I think are interesting, and pictures of happy fishermen, women, and children displaying the fish that they have caught. It's really cool. Over 19,000 people follow Maumee Tackle on Facebook. It's a great Facebook page. Number 9 on my bingo card is find a roadside tackle business. You will see roadside tackle businesses more on the Maumee side than the Perrysburg side. Basically, somebody has a truck or a van and they open up the side of it, and there's all kinds of, tackle there, jigs, lures, whatever you want to call them. They're selling them right there next to the river. So if you spot one of those, you can mark that off your bingo card. I have definitely seen them on the Maumee side, so I will go ahead and mark that space. Number 10 on my bingo card is watch a fisherman load fish into a cooler. Typically, when fishermen are done for the day, they take their stringer full of fish and they throw them in a cooler. Sometimes they'll stop by the fish cutter guy first and get the heads and the tails and all the guts taken out. But if you ever see somebody with a stringer full of fish and they're dumping them in a cooler, that counts for the space that I've got on my bingo card. I have seen this plenty of times on the Maumee side this year, so I will mark that off my bingo card. Now we're on the third row. Number 11 is visit the Davis Overlook, which is a park, and watch people fish for walleye. I have not been down into the park this year. I've only driven past many times, so I will not mark that spot on my bingo card. I talked about the Davis Overlook in episode 33 of the Perrysburg podcast, so if you want to check that out, listen to episode 33. Number 12 is next. Read Brian Miller's book, which is titled Fishing the Maumee River Walleye Run. Brian wrote a book about his experiences fishing on the Maumee River. I bought a copy of his book after he was a guest on episode 32 of the Perrysburg podcast. I have read parts of the book, so I will give myself credit for reading it because technically that's correct, and I will mark this spot on my bingo card. If you would like to buy a copy of Brian's book, which again is called Fishing the Maumee River Walleye Run, go to his website, which is MaumeeRiverWalleyeRun.com, and go ahead and buy your copy today. We are at the free spot on my card right now. I am marking mine. That was number 13, and it looks like a walleye, in case you're curious. The next stop is number 14. Watch two fishermen work together to net a fish. One has a rod, the other's holding the net. They work together and they've got the walleye. I have not seen that this year, but it is very common to see, and I am not marking my spot since I have not seen it yet this year. On to number 15. This is the last one in the third row. Listen to episode 32 of the Perrysburg podcast, which features Brian Miller from MaumeeRiverWalleyeRun.com. He's the guy with the book that I just talked about. Brian shares his wisdom about fishing spots in Perrysburg. He talks about tools and gear. He talks about safety tips and more in episode 32. So if you have not heard that yet, check that out. It's available in audio and video. I very rarely make a video episode, but that is on the Perrysburg Podcast's YouTube channel. Check that out today. And I have definitely heard that episode, so I am marking that spot on my bingo card. All right, we're starting row 4 now. This is the 16th space on my card. It says, watch someone catch a walleye while standing in the river wearing hip waders. I have definitely seen that this year, so I will mark that spot on my card. The 17th spot on my bingo card says, look at today's river report on MaumeeTackle.net. Maumee Tackle does a great job of sharing a river report every day, at least during the walleye run. I don't pay attention to it outside of the walleye run. The river report will tell you the water level, the water temperature, the barometric pressure, the water clarity, which is only like an inch right now, not very clear at all, sunrise and sunset times, and more. I have definitely seen the river report this month. It's only April 3rd, and I have definitely seen it like every day this week because I've been curious with all the rain we've been getting. So I will mark that spot on my bingo card. Spot number 18 out of 25 on my bingo card says, like the Maumee River Walleye Run Facebook page. Going back to Brian Miller, this is Brian Miller's Facebook page, and he has more than 32,000 followers. I liked this one last year when he was on the show, and I've been following it ever since. I will mark this spot on my bingo card. And if you have not been to the Maumee River Walleye Run Facebook page, you can like it, even if you're not a fisherman, even if you're a spectator like me. I enjoy seeing all the action on the river, so I follow that page. If you know a fisherman who might like the Maumee River Walleye Run Facebook page, let them know about it. They can always use more followers. Next up is number 19. Visit Orleans Park and watch someone catch a walleye. I have, yes, been to Orleans Park this year, but I don't think that I've seen someone catch a fish. I know that I've seen people fishing as I've walked along the river walk between Orleans Park and the Fort Meigs battlefield. So I won't mark that spot on my bingo card because I don't think I've seen somebody catch a walleye. Been to the park, haven't seen the walleye catch. The last spot on the 4th row is a rare event. The 20th item on my bingo card here is watch a water rescue. This is when the EMS or the first responder boat from the police department has to fish a human out of the river because their boat got stuck or they got swept downriver. It happens. I have not watched a water rescue, so I am not going to mark this spot. I've only heard about such a thing on the news or on Facebook pages. Be safe out there, everybody. We're on the 5th and final row of my bingo card here. The 21st item is watch a roadside fish cutter in action. I've only seen this on the Maumee side of the river. There is a fish cutter right along River Road, and he's close to Jerome Road. He's kind of by Sidecut Park and the bike trail there. If you don't want to cut your own fish, just pay these guys. And if you've never seen someone clean a fish, now's your chance. Check them out next time you're in that area. I've seen the roadside fish cutter from a distance, and that counts in my book, so I will mark this spot. Number 22 on my bingo card is visit the Maple Street boat launch and watch the outgoing and incoming fishermen. This is a great opportunity to see a motorboat launch into the river or get trailered back up when they're all done, right here in Perrysburg. If you'd like to see that, head over to the Maple Street boat launch during the Walleye Run. Now, if they caught a lot of fish, you may also get to check another box here on your bingo card because they're going to have to load a cooler with the fish they caught. That's right, you could mark more than one spot if you visit the Maple Street boat launch. My fellow Perrysburg resident, Tina Saunders, and I recorded a podcast episode about the boat launches in Perrysburg. If you would like to hear that, go to perrysburgpodcast.com and select episode 55. I can't mark this square on my bingo card because I have not been to the Maple Street boat launch yet this year. Only 3 spots left. Number 23 is watch a fisherman in a boat catch a walleye. People use kayaks, canoes, and motorboats during the walleye run. If you have binoculars, this one should be pretty easy. But if you don't have binoculars, this one might be kind of hard. I have not watched anyone in a boat catch a walleye yet this year, but I think it would probably be pretty easy to do from the Perrysburg Maumee Bridge because of that height advantage. So either get on the bridge or get a pair of binoculars, and you could probably mark this one off your bingo card. No mark on the bingo card for me for this one. I have not seen anyone in a boat catch a walleye this year. Only 2 spots left now. Number 24 is look at the water level markers under the I-475 bridge on the Maumee side of the river. There are spray painted numbers on the concrete support structures under the I-475 bridge along River Road in Maumee. If you have ever driven on River Road in Maumee and looked at those support structures and not seen these spray painted numbers, I wouldn't blame you. I didn't even know they were there until this year. The water level part of the river report from Maumee Tackle will make sense when you look at those markings. So look at maumeetackle.net, look at the river report, then look at the markings on the support structures for the bridge. As I record this, it is April 3rd, 2025. The water level is at 585.5, which is high. We just got a bunch of rain, and the river is high and running fast. Today is not a good day to fish. But it's a good day for me to mark this spot on my bingo card, so I marked that spot. All right, last spot. I'm ending on a controversial note here. I follow a number of Maumee River fishing sites on Facebook, and I have noticed a lot of complaints from fishermen about police ticketing their vehicles just this year. So if you happen to see a fisherman getting a parking ticket, mark this last spot on your bingo card. Unfortunately, I have seen a policeman ticketing a fisherman for illegal parking as I was driving past the Davis Overlook, actually. I get it, they were parked illegally. They deserve the ticket. But I've got to say, let's be proactive for next year. If you're a City of Maumee or City of Perrysburg official who can do something and create more parking spaces near the river to help the fishermen, even just in March and April, please do so. I would rather see fishermen pay for parking, like pay for a parking spot up front, like we all have to do for the July 4th fireworks at the Fort Meigs battlefield, rather than having to pay for a parking ticket after the offense. I just wish we could be proactive and create more parking for the fishermen, some of whom come to town just once a year from a great distance to fish, and this is their vacation. If you are a fisherman and you're listening to this, listen, I feel for you guys. Thank you for coming to Perrysburg, and please consider coming back next year. I'm just a spectator, but I really like watching the walleye run. It's fascinating to me to watch people pulling walleye, bass, giant carp, all kinds of stuff out of the Maumee River. All right, thanks so much for playing along with me, playing my walleye bingo game, and listening to the Perrysburg Podcast, episode 89. It's April. Get out there and enjoy the spring weather, whether you're a spectator or a fisherman. Visit the websites and Facebook pages that I mentioned today. The links are in the show notes, and go ahead and visit the parks that I mentioned as well. Those are listed in the show notes, and you can check out those podcast episodes as well. If you have not already, please sign up for the newsletter for the Perrysburg Podcast. I will send you email notifications every week when a new episode comes out. And for anybody already subscribed to the newsletter, you will get my Walleye Bingo card. You can check out and see what it looks like and how I did. You can see all my little markers on it. Go ahead and subscribe to or follow this podcast on your favorite podcast player and YouTube to get each new episode right when it comes out. Thank you for listening today. If you're a fisherman, Thanks for coming to Perrysburg, and I'll talk to you next week. Hey, listen, I forgot to let you know that I got 16 out of 25 spaces on my bingo board. And guess what? No bingos. No horizontal bingo, no vertical bingo, no diagonal bingo. I didn't even get all four corners. What kind of bingo board did I make? Geez, I should have probably rearranged things so I got at least one bingo, but hey, I'm an honest person. I'll let you know. Even with 16 out of 25, I still didn't get a bingo. But hey, I had fun and I hope you did too. Have a great weekend.